Here we dive deep into true encounters, terrifying, shocking, unforgettable, between people and this unstoppable animal, the African buffalo. From farmers who never expected danger at their doorstep, to entire towns thrown into chaos by the fury of buffaloes. The farm horror. South Africa, in the farming region near Hoedspruit, is a quiet agricultural area where locals live side by side with the wild. It was here, on a farm at Makaya Lodge, that tragedy struck in a way few can ever forget. Two farm workers were going about their duties. The sun was hot, the cicadas buzzed, and everything seemed calm. Until a sound pierced the air. Screams. Loud, desperate, horrifying screams. They recognized the voice. It was their friend, 25 years old, Farmer Roy Monks. They sprinted toward the sound, hearts pounding, fear clawing at their throats. And then they saw him. Roy lay on the ground, his body broken, his clothes torn. Towering over him was a Cape buffalo, its horns stained red, its nostrils flaring. It snorted heavily, pawing at the earth, daring anyone to come closer. The workers shouted, threw stones, anything to distract it. For agonizing seconds, the buffalo stood its ground, and then finally, it backed away, retreating into the bush. But the damage had already been done. They rushed to Roy, lifted him, and carried him back to the farmhouse. His family was summoned. Tears, panic, frantic calls for help filled the air. His injuries were catastrophic. Within minutes, his fight was over. The farm workers never forgot the look in that buffalo's eyes. Cold, calculating, as if it knew exactly what it had done. And if you think this is tragic, what happened in Botswana just a few years later will leave you shaken. Because sometimes buffalo don't just strike in the wild, sometimes they storm right into the heart of small towns. Our next story begins in 2023, in one of the most extraordinary wildernesses on Earth, the Kruger National Park, Botswana. A land of elephants, lions, crocodiles, and yes, immense herds of buffalo. Tourists flock there every year for safari rides, and photographers come to capture the raw essence of Africa. Normally, the danger stays inside the park boundaries, but in 2023, 3 buffaloes broke the rules. 3 of the wild animals left the safety of the park. No one knows why. Perhaps they were driven away by predators. Perhaps they wandered too far and became separated from their herd. Or maybe, just maybe, something inside them snapped. The first sign of trouble came on an ordinary school day in the town of Kasane. Children were laughing, chasing a football across the schoolyard. Their shouts echoed across the dusty field. Teachers watched from the sidelines. Then, without warning, a shadow appeared at the edge of the field. The ground trembled. A buffalo stormed onto the playground. At first, the children froze, confused. Then came the screams. The animal ran forward, massive horns lowered, eyes wide with fury. Children scattered in all directions, some leaping fences, others collapsing in terror. Teachers shouted, waving arms, trying desperately to divert the buffalo. But it locked onto one child, a 13-year-old boy. The laughter of the football match turned into chaos, horror, and panic. By the time help arrived, the boy's life had already been taken. The schoolyard, once a place of joy, became a scene of grief. But the rampage wasn't over. That very same day, a second buffalo struck. This time, a 37-year-old local man was simply walking through the town of Kasane. The animal came from nowhere, charging at full speed. He was attacked and thrown to the ground, battered, his body left broken. Somehow he clung to life and was rushed to hospital. His survival was nothing short of miraculous. Still, the terror spread. The next day, another 2 men fell victim. One was attacked and left with deep wounds. The other didn't return from the encounter. By now, panic had engulfed the community. Parents kept their children indoors. Streets emptied. Conversations hushed. People whispered of cursed buffalo, of these animals possessed by rage. Authorities acted quickly. They knew these animals would not stop their attacks. A specialized team was sent out. The search lasted hours. Tension filled the air. Finally, the hunters cornered the 3 rogue buffalo. Shots rang out. The animals fell. The danger was gone. But the memories? They linger still. To this day, the people of Kassana speak of the year the buffalo left Chobe and brought terror to their town. But buffalo don't only strike in towns or schools. Sometimes they appear in the most familiar place of all, right in your own backyard. The artist who loved Africa. This last true tragic encounter takes us to Kenya, to the Great Rift Valley in 2012. Here lived a man named Simon Combs. Not a hunter, not a farmer, but an artist. Simon wasn't just any artist. He was world-renowned. His paintings captured Africa's wildlife with such breathtaking accuracy that collectors around the world craved his work. Lions on the hunt. Elephants crossing rivers. The raw, untamed power of the savannah. And yes, buffalo, drawn in all their intimidating glory. Born in England, Simon had grown up in Kenya. He understood Africa. He breathed it. He knew the sounds of the bush, the rhythm of the herds, the danger lurking behind every tree. His canvases weren't just art. They were windows into living, breathing world. But even a man who devoted his life to depicting the wild couldn't control it. It was a warm day in 2012. Simon was walking in the Rift Valley with his wife and a close friend. The valley stretched endlessly around them, rolling hills, golden grass, scattered acacia trees. The kind of view that had inspired his paintings countless times. They talked, they laughed, they admired the beauty. The land felt safe, familiar. After all, Simon knew this bush better than most. But sometimes knowing the bush gives you a false sense of security. Without warning, the moment shattered. A crashing sound erupted from the undergrowth. Twigs snapping, the pounding of hooves, and then it came. A buffalo, massive, muscled, horns glistening in the sunlight. It didn't hesitate. It didn't pause. It charged. Simon had only seconds to react, but there was no time. The animal was already on him. With a horrifying impact, the buffalo slammed into him, tossing him through the air like a rag doll. Dust filled the sky. His wife screamed. His friend stood frozen in disbelief. The buffalo didn't stop. Again and again it struck, its horns slicing, its weight crushing. The fury of the buffalo seemed endless. Simon's wife cried out, desperate, begging for it to end. But there was nothing she could do. To come closer meant certain disaster. To stay back meant watching helplessly. Finally, as suddenly as it had come, the buffalo retreated, vanishing into the brush, leaving behind silence. Silence broken only by the sobs of Simon's wife. He lay broken on the ground, his body battered, blood soaking into the dust. His wife clutched his hand, praying, calling for help. But they were miles from the nearest road, deep in the wild. An air ambulance was called. The longest 2 hours of her life passed in agony. She whispered to him, told him to hold on, begged him not to slip away. But when the helicopter finally arrived, it was too late. Simon Combs, the man who had spent his life capturing the beauty of Africa, had become a victim of its fury. For more true horror stories of animals that attack, subscribe to this wildlife channel.